Time for another Big Bear Mountain construction update on a very busy day. Actually, the busiest day I've seen the entire year so far here at Dollywood. But I've been told by the Reddit gods that track is on site somewhere. So we'll start over here where there's, not where the track is, but other things. So here's where that splashdown and rockwork feature is going to be. It doesn't look like they've made a lot of progress with that, but there's a lot of new pipes laid out there you can see that were not there when I was here a couple weeks ago. So it does look like they're starting to work on the plumbing a lot more, which I assume all that will have to be in place before they start working on the actual rockwork. I'm not sure what that is, but that's definitely new. Some kind of surveying equipment or something going on there. You can see a truck parked at the top of this hill, and we have some more survey equipment and such. Doesn't look like they've necessarily poured any more foundations around this. This is closer to the midpoint of the ride. It looks like they're not going to work on this part as much until that splashdown feature is really coming together. I don't want to walk in the gardens, but you can see a lot of the cages for where there's foundations are going to be poured. Yeah, it's interesting to see what this little, where they blast outside of this hill, how it's going to look when they're all done. Probably take a while for the grass to grow back and such, but hopefully it will. Up on the hill behind Black Bear Trail, you can see a group of construction workers discussing something. I don't know, I have nothing to do with construction really. There's a truck parked up there. Looks like they're working on a lot more stuff up there. There's a little piece of equipment. It's a little bit hard to see with all the foliage in the way, but hopefully as we're getting into winter here soon, that won't be as much of a problem. So you can see that there's a lot more work taking place on this hill, shorter hill right behind Black Bear Trail here. Now they've poured quite a few more foundations, but there's still quite a few left over here, so you can see how it's really going to hard to settle terrain there. Continuing to move back towards where the entrance to the ride's going to be. Here is behind Mountain Grove Merchants, and I just sound like a broken record, but we have a lot more foundations poured. I think like all the foundations I can see from here are already poured and ready to go, which is awesome. It also appears that generally there's been a lot more digging around. I might be crazy, but moving over to behind Frogs and Fireflies, you can see same thing going on. Pretty much all of the foundations they were starting on before are done, poured. And you can see what appear to be some conduits, probably for the electrical systems for the launch, because this is where the launch tracks will be, both of them right through here. It's about the best look we're going to get from here over at the construction site where the station and all that stuff's going to be. You can't really make out much from here. There's definitely some equipment over there, making a lot of work. I see a lot more poured foundations over there. That's where there's going to be a little spaghetti bowl section by the entrance to the ride, so that's where we'll have a lot of foundations around there. And the track, from what I hear, should be staged back there somewhere. Firefly's wait is an hour long, so not going to do that today. If you come over here, this is where the ride entrance will be when it opens. So let's check that out. It's really hard to get the camera to focus through the cracks in this fence, which is obnoxiously tall. They're definitely upped the height, probably because they don't want people like me peeking over, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You can see a lot of those foundations I was talking about for the spaghetti bowl section, and in the very back, you can probably barely see, they look just like the other traffic cones. However, that is track back there. The track for this ride is like volunteer orange, which I'm totally cool with. Let's see how close to over there I can get you real quick. Heading back out towards the train now, because that's where we'll get the best views. But just looking at this hillside where the coaster's going to ride on, and it's going to look pretty incredible once it's put in. From what I can see of the track, I can see it a little better than y'all can peeking through the fence. It is a very, very bright orange. It is literally, it's literally UT orange, glowing. So that'll look really good, really pop once it's put in. You can see over there is the building for Big Bear Mountain. We've kind of stopped temporarily. They caught the ground on fire. Whoopsie daisies. So see what looks like the giant white poles. That's where the station building is going to be. You can see what appears to be some drain pipes around, maybe conduits for electrical systems. I'm not sure. I don't construct roller coasters, I just watch them. But over on the right, there's the track. It's kind of, the angle the sun's on, it's kind of hard to see it. But very bright orange. That's the track that's on the site so far. None of it looks like launch track. I'm not really sure which sections of the ride will be for. We'll find out. Obviously, they'll bring the track in those sections. They poured a lot more foundations way back there as well. You just can't really see because of all the stuff that they've staged between here and there. But you can see about where those white pipes are. I think is about the full extent to how far the coaster comes out this way. There's still a ton of space back here for them to use for another attraction behind it in the future. Just saying. I'm voiceovering this part after the fact because the train is incredibly loud, so you can't really hear anything while it's moving. But as we are, chugging along after that little entertaining stoppage, we're going right past where they have the track stage. This is all the track that's on site so far, so you can get a look at it. Very shiny paint on it. Sorry, the lighting's not great because the sun kind of went behind the clouds there, but there it all is. That's all we got on site so far. Again, we should expect to see more continuing to show up throughout the project, kind of in phases is what typically ends up happening. So they're probably getting ready to install that sometime pretty soon, hopefully, and that's why it has arrived. And it's kind of over past the construction site. You can kind of see the white poles over in the distance as we, go into the trees, and the shrubbery kind of blocks the view, unfortunately. So we're gonna run it back a little bit here. And you can see those white poles back there that look like pipes sticking out of the ground. That's where the ride station is going to be. And then in front of it here, you can see where most of the construction is taking place with a lot of foundations down. And again, sorry it's hard to see. All the shrubbery is grown out. But hopefully, as we're getting into the fall and winter here, a lot of that's going to be falling off the trees. And then it'll give us a much better view. You can kind of see a little bit more at the end here as we approach where Dragonflyer and Thunderhead are located there. So I'm assuming that these first sections of track are going to be going right about right here, because that's where I see the most foundations are done. They've started working on foundations for the hill portion, but they're not completely done and ready to go. These all look pretty done and ready to go, this kind of final spaghetti bowl section of the ride here. So it would be my prediction that this is what's going to get installed first, but we shall see. What's most interesting about the track is the design of it, because when the animation came out, people pointed out that it kind of looked more like Togo track in the animation than New Gen Vekoma track, which I can't get out of my head now that I've seen it. I can't unsee it. And so I, along with many others, assumed that was just like an animation error, but apparently not, because this track looks exactly like the animation, like literally exactly. So I don't know, it just doesn't look like a lot of the other track Vekoma has been doing recently to me, but I also haven't seen some of their newer projects up close, because most of them are over in Europe. It's also really hard to tell just riding by real quick on the train here, even rewatching the footage, how everything's coming together in terms of where the pathing is going to go. And there is one underground tunnel portion of the coaster. I mean, obviously we can just look at the animation to see exactly where that's going to be, but I'm not seeing evidence of it in real time on the construction here, if you get what I'm saying. But that's going to wrap it up for this construction update of Big Bear Mountain. Hopefully I was able to share with y'all a lot of good information about the construction progress that has been made, and hopefully we can see track getting installed pretty dang soon here. I mean, they got it on site, so hopefully that means that they're looking to put it down pretty soon. But I also like to hear from you all just some feedback on these types of videos, kind of what style you like best with me voicing over different things and talking about it and stuff. Obviously, I want to talk about the construction while I'm showing it, but I don't know what exactly you all like to see best in terms of how I go about that. So any feedback's appreciated. That doesn't mean that's what I'm going to roll with and do, but I always like to at least hear. And thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully I'll have another construction update very soon.